Okay, so down there is Harvey's Brewery. It's one of the large sort of grey industrial units, and installed on there are 545 PV panels, 98 kilowatts, and most of the electricity from that is going directly for use in the warehouse to the chillers, which are chilling wine and beer, and for lighting and computers and things like that. So it makes a really good project where electricity is being generated locally, it's decentralised, and it's being used on site, and only a certain amount's being exported and going back into the grid. Okay, so up on the hill there is the original wind turbine, and this is Glyndebourne Estates, and so that indicates this is a really good site for a modern day wind turbine. And Glyndebourne decided that they wanted to offset their carbon emissions, so they put in a planning permission for a 750 kilowatt wind turbine on this site here, and they raised the finance for that, and they built a wind turbine. There were some objections from the local village, which is Ringmer, that's just over the hill, and there were some people who were positive about that, and there were people in Transition Town Lewis who actually spoke at a hearing about the wind turbine, and they were positive about it, and some of the local school children as well. And when the wind turbine, we had the launch ceremony here, and David Attenborough actually cut the ribbon, and there were school children. Gus Christie from Glyndebourne itself, which is just over the hill, was here. And Glyndebourne have been very supportive of Transition Town Lewis, and we held an event at the Opera House which raised finance for Transition Town Lewis to keep some of its projects going, and some of that finance was used by OVESCO to launch the share issue, which then went ahead and put PV panels on Harvey's Brewery and PV panels on the local school at Priory School. And Priory School, all the children came up here and met David Attenborough on the day that he actually cut the ribbon for the wind turbine. And so there's a kind of nice story for them, and they got very excited about that, and the eco group at the school now wants to go ahead and do more things at the school off the back of the PV panels, and having met David Attenborough here and seen.
So what can we see here, Chris?
Well, this is an old wind turbine used for a water pump, and as part of work we did with Barkham Parish Council that was funded by LEAF, we looked at the whole parish and the potential for renewables, and this was the single site where we thought possibly they could look at a community wind turbine. And so in the distance you saw just now Glyndebourne's wind turbine, which is 750 kilowatts, and here we thought perhaps a 50 kilowatt turbine, much smaller one, but maybe the community could raise the capital for that. And in the distance over there, there's a mobile phone mast, and that got planning permission. So we thought, well, perhaps this site might be a site where we could get the planning permission. And this is outside of the national park as well, which is an issue for us here on the South Downs. So we're at Barkham Nursery here, which is just north of Lewes, and installed on the roof of this barn here, which is where the nursery do their veg box scheme, there's 9 kilowatts of PV panels. And that's okay, so we're at Brickyard Farm now, and there are PV panels on the roof of the barn, and there's nearly 20 kilowatts that's been installed on the roof of the barn. And this is at Tim Bullen's farm, and Tim's going to tell us a little bit about what goes on here.
Okay, well, we've got a campsite here, and a number of years ago I was interested in ways that we could use the barn roof to generate solar electricity. And then things spiralled a little with the Barkham Energy Fair, which is a community group looking at ways that they could use energy and conserve energy in the community. Where I met Chris and OVESCO, who are a community energy scheme, put together an idea that we recently installed. It was all to do with getting energy from the roof, and we're now with a campsite here. It's the secret campsite, and the idea is that we can get solar electricity to power our showers. The community can get the feed-in tariffs and sell the electricity back to good energy, I think.
Yes.
And hopefully we're all winners, and it's all done courtesy of the sunshine. Okay, so this is where I live here, and when we moved in, I planted up an orchard filled with edible plants, which has got a lot of edible fruit trees, nut trees. But my passion is edible plants, and I've been along on a couple of courses at Martin Crawford's, and the idea is at the campsite we're going to plant a small forest garden here where many of the plants in that will have an edible quality to them, be it ingredients or be it actually a meal in itself. It might be that you're making teas from lemon verbena, but The whole site that we've got here at the secret campsite is filled with plants that you'll be able to eat parts of at different times of the year. So hopefully come March time you'll be able to eat wild garlic, and then during the summer there'll be the salads, and then in the autumn and winter there'll be some of the seeds and nuts that you'll be able to enjoy as you sit around your campfire.